everybody? Welcome to the Off-Season Podcast, home where we talk about anything and everything related to youth sports. Today, we got a special guest here with us. We've been seeing this camp, a lineman camp, being promoted around here, around the city. And honestly, it's like kind of the first we've seen of position-specific camps. Obviously, we've had like some quarterback camps come around here, but linemen, we don't see that too often, man. So today we sitting down with Nico Trenches.
So
turn it over to you, Coach, to just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Coach Nico Taylor. I run the company called Nico Trenches. Nico Trenches is spelled N-I-C-O. The N-I stands for me, Nico. The C-O stands for Cortez, which is my dad. My dad actually handles all the recruiting and things like that for me. So I handle like training, camps. He handles all the backside from recruiting, make sure we can market it and things like that to really just make sure that we can help as many linemen as possible. I can't wait to get out to Milwaukee Friday. We'll be having a coaches clinic. And then for offensive line coaches and defensive line coaches, anybody who comes out to the coaches clinic automatically is able to come to help be a volunteer coach at the camp on Saturday. And then Saturday we'll be up at St. Francis from 9 to 12. We'll have a high school camp. And then from 1 to 4, we'll have a youth camp for ages about 8 to 13. So anybody looking to come out, I would love to come share some of my knowledge with y'all and, welcome to the town.
Yeah. We're definitely glad to have you here, Coach, man. And just so we got the high school is going to be in the morning on Saturday, and then the younger guys in the afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. All right, Coach. Well, while we got you online, man, I think it's like, man, there's a good chance to just learn a little bit about yourself, man. So what could you tell us about yourself, man? Where you from? How'd you get your start playing?
Okay, so originally from Southern California. Like my base is in Southern California, but now I've been fortunate enough to start traveling. And I played youth football for the Snoop Youth Football League. Then played high school at a school called Summit High School. I was fortunate enough to get a Division I scholarship out of there. I played at Southeastern. I went to Southeastern and went to Riverside Community College. After Riverside Community College, I was fortunate to go back Division I, and I ended up graduating from Idaho State. I played and graduated at Idaho State. Then they asked me to be the graduate assistant. So then I became the defensive line graduate assistant at Idaho State. And some unfortunate events happened, and it actually led me up to be the defensive line coach for a few weeks. And just in that time, it made me really grow up because I had just finished graduating. And these are all the same guys I was just playing with and things like that. And
did you play D-line?
I played D-line. I played all 4 positions: D-end, D-tackle, nose. And
ever since you was in the Snoop League?
Yep. I always played D-line and O-line. And then more in college, I just played D-line.
Okay.
And then, after kind of being a graduate assistant for a little bit, when the coach came back after the incident happened, he was like, man, these last few weeks, you had already just been the defensive line coach. So he allowed me to have a little bit more experience. So I was getting Division I college coaching a few months right after I was graduating, and it just really made me grow up. And then I was like, man, I can't see myself doing anything other than this. And my dad had already been helping kids get scholarships. My dad had been helping kids get scholarships since 2012, all positions.
Okay.
So I was like, man, I'm not really hip to just training everybody. But I'm like, man, there's something about this D-line play and this O-line play I really like.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I'm going to give myself a chance to go home and see what I can do.
Yeah.
And like the first kid I happened to train, his name was Dejan Ronan. I had 1 kid to train when I went home.
Right.
We got it in. Like he ended up having like over 20 offers for his senior year.
Wow.
So, and then from there, I ain't stopped.
Question for you. So with the training that you do, was it are these guys like ready already, and then you giving them some like pro, like college next level kind of drills, or like what is it special that you're doing with these guys that's turning things around for them?
So I think what makes me different is I really try to pay a lot of attention to details. So some kids I have come with a natural athletic ability. Right. That doesn't mean that they're good at defensive line play, but they might just athletic. They might be a little bit more advanced. And what I try to do is now give them the technique and details to when they get to other offensive linemen or other defensive linemen that are also athletic, like the details that'll be able to help them win consistently. I'm all about consistent wins and being consistent with our play and letting things happen like natural. I feel like playing defensive line and offensive line is like dancing. It's not something you could just look at and mimic. You need to be in the mirror and make sure your groove is right. And
Right. Okay.
dancing. We can't just wake up and be like Chris Brown. We got to practice that. So
Okay.
Line, we get it's consistent training, coming 2-3 times a week, breaking it down from just our steps, our knowledge.
Just D line work.
Just D line and O line work.
Okay.
And I have a mixture of drills. I have a mixture when I'm applying more drills. Sometimes players' bodies don't know how to even move in the correct way to make these plays. So then that's when I incorporate drills. But then I have things where we're slowed down and we're more talking and visualizing things. So when these things happen into the game, they're very translatable. So now it's like, man, how are these guys getting so fast? It's not that they're so fast. They can understand it and process it so fast. Now they're like, hey, I've seen this at practice all the time. So now you're just getting guys to just be able to play very natural, very fast, very instinctive, which that is what shows up on film.
So basically just reps, yeah, and then the IQ to go with it.
Of good details and good coaching, telling them what the good offensive linemen are going to do. So this is what you have to go beat. Like, yeah, that first move may be cool, but knowing how to throw a second and a third arm, or making sure the proper snatch arm is good, because, you know, you're not the only one that's getting training. Like, that's what I'm really trying to tell these guys. Like, you're not the only one out here. So if you want to battle against my offensive line that I'm working with it just as much as you, like, this is what I'm teaching them. And this is what they're doing at a high level. So what you're doing now is cool, but we got to get here.
Yeah. So, yeah. Two questions for you, because I played corner. Corner in college. So honestly, I never really been too close to the D line. I don't really know what's going on. I'm staying out the way, you know, in most cases. But if you could tell us, man, and we just kind of freestyling now, but what makes a good D line? Like, if you had to just narrow it down to like a couple of things, like, man, what are those traits that you look for?
Number one, just the mentality. When you're a D lineman, you can't care about nothing else. You got to feel like you're the best. You got to feel like every down, like, this offensive lineman is about to go backwards.
I'm just a dog.
Yeah, like, that is what started off. Like,
I'm just a dog.
Sure. Okay. And then number two is being able to play with great hands. If that's pass or run, just being able to move your hands and feet at the same time, really just being able to play with violent hands. And then I think number three is probably just vision. Because if you can see what's coming up, you can see if it's run, you can see it's pass, you can see the blocking scheme that you're getting. Now that's when your training can kick in, and now you're being very instinctive and playing fast. So for sure, just that mentality, the vision, and then, mentality, playing with your hands, and then having great vision.
Great vision. Okay. I like that. I think it just helps, just, you know, again, for people who listening to this, like, man, if I'm working on these three things, right, I'm probably getting better.
For sure.
With what I'm looking to do. Question for you, though.
Yes, sir.
You say you played D line. So playing D line taught you how to play O line, or how did you get into the O line part of it? Right. That's what I was like. How did that happen?
Number one, yes, playing defensive line did help me get better at playing offensive line. Then I also, when I was a graduate assistant, I used to try to sit and learn all the things that they were teaching the offensive linemen.
Right.
So I wanted to know, why did they step like this? You know, what are they supposed to do in their first step? What are they supposed to do in their second step? So now when I'm talking to them and they're doing something wrong or correct, I'm gonna be like, hey, this is what they're going to do in their first step. This is what they're going to do in their second step. So this is how we have to be. So they can even try to be like, oh, okay. So they can understand the offensive line play as well. Okay. So yeah, and just years of just trying to beat guys, and me watching film of the guys that I'm trying to beat, that number one made me very comfortable. And then I take time. I reach out to offensive line trainers. I reach out to offensive line coaches. When I go to these colleges, I ask, can I meet with the D-line coach and the O-line coach? Okay. I want to be able to talk to both. I try to look at, also talk to the OC and the DC, just so we can just be able to broaden my knowledge as possible, not only about offensive line and defensive line play, but just about offensive, defensive schemes and things like that. Because if I can add schemes, drills, and everything to my guys, now I just have very smart guys, which makes very good players.
Right, right. Can you talk a little bit about kind of that consistency that you talked about with working with these guys? Because we do some training here, and I think sometimes you see it, especially at the younger levels, where I come once or maybe twice. It's not real consistent though. But you mentioned being consistent with just coming, 3 times a week. Like, what do those workouts look like? How long are they? And kind of what are we teaching there?
So my sessions are usually anywhere from about 1:15 to 1.5 hours. I try to give my first about 15 to 25 minutes of my session. We're working on just athleticism and sometimes incorporating those drills that will help the body movement of linemen. Because playing lineman, yes, you got to know plays. Yeah, you have to know hands, but sometimes your body just really needs to know and feel like, how can I make this play? So I try to incorporate that. So in about 1:15, 1:25, then we can be successful there. And then I've seen with my guys who come 2 and 3 times, they're able to get things faster and it's able to show up faster, because with giving these guys so many small, intricate details, it's hard to remember it. If I'm seeing you 1 Monday, 2 Mondays past, then he forgot the small details that we're adding. So it's just hard to connect, like, especially with the younger guys, they can't remember much.
Right.
So I never try to give them too much. I try to keep it consistent with them and keep it small, because if they know small and if they get very good at a few things, you'll get to see that show up at a young age. And the coming 2 and 3 times just really helps them be able to understand, answer questions, because it's not just about doing a drill. Like, I ask a lot of questions during my training sessions.
Okay. So just to get them to think and respond
and get them to know, because every kid is going to say, "Yeah, I know what you mean, coach." When you get to start asking questions, then you can understand. All right, well, what was step 1? What was step 2? What was step 3? And when asking that, if he doesn't know step 2, but he knew 1 and 3, now I know, okay, this is where everything was going wrong. Yeah. So just being consistent, you can answer more questions. You're getting more of those reps. You're hearing it over and over. So then now he's practicing it. That's him practicing his dancing in the mirror.
Yeah. And I think you talked about a piece that, like, literally, right, when you get to the next level, like beyond youth and beyond high school, right, your college coach is going to ask you and make sure all of these details. And if you can't answer the question right, it might mean something, that you may have to take a step back.
And I really just try to get my guys used to being coached hard and being used to a lot being put on them in the game, but them able to process information, slow it down, listen to what the coach is asking. All right, applying everything that we gave them. So then I feel like that's how you create great football players. Yeah. So then when they get into these high level college programs or even high school programs, or just even in their career, they're knowing how to be coached. They're knowing how to be talked to in a rough way. They're knowing how to, in hostile environments, try to slow things down. And let me listen to what he's asking. Let me really try to dig deep and really just see what they've learned. Like, because a lot of kids, especially at the youth level and even high school level, they get very nervous when you're asking them a lot of questions and own them. And I should really try to take pride in my guys. Like, hey, calm down. Like, this is what it's like. This is life. When you go get a job, this might be hostile. You might not did everything right. Like, be able to process it, listen, answer, and then deliver.
Yeah. Break down the steps of it. I think maybe when I was just kind of going through, but obviously before we had this interview, that maybe part of your training may be some film study and things like that. Do you sit down with your guys, and is that kind of part of the setup too?
So yeah, I try to incorporate everything. We do film study on Zoom, or sometimes during my session, I may even pause the session and bring up film and be like, fellas, so this is the drill that we're doing. This is why we're doing it. Let's look at some bad plays that happen when people are not following what we're about to do, and then let's see some of the good plays that can happen. So now while we're going through it, they're not just going through a drill. I feel like a lot of players just go through drills, and if you ask them, hey, what do you use that for? They frankly don't know. They're doing it because their coach told them. So I'd like to bring in the film, so then when we're going through these drills, they understand why I'm yelling at this part. Why am I being hard on this part? Why is this part? Why do I need to go fast here? Why can I slow down here? Because sometimes, like especially in these day and ages, a lot of these kids are visual learners. So I try to use film, I try to use bodies, I try to use cones, so they can be able to see it. because I know the game, I understand the game. So I can close my eyes, hear it, understand it. But, they're just now soaking everything in. So with film, with showing them what the bodies look like, walking through the plays, they're like, oh.
Yeah.
I felt like sometimes slowing down my practice actually gives them more.
Yeah.
Like you would think, hey, if you slow down as a coach and you're not always on them so fast, you would think that you feel like you're losing time. But I've seen it slowing down and taking 10, 15 minutes looking at the film and walking and talking. It has actually enhanced what they know and now has sped up their plan.
Yeah. Yeah. Like just giving them time to just kind of soak it up as opposed to just, like you said, hitting drills from drills and you working hard, but
you're not getting nothing done at the end of the day.
Yeah. What did you retain?
I'm not about coming to my session and how much can you sweat. Yeah. It's how much can you sweat. It's how explosive you can be. It's how many questions can you answer right. It's how many times can you tell me about this drill. Like it's much more than just the drills. Just because football is way more than drills. Right. You stick to just drills like that, I feel like you get this much out of the player. So through my training, I try to pull out as much as I can in that hour, 15 to 30, to really, I'm coming back and really being able to see a faster translation when I'm gone.
Yeah, I like that. Like you said, like almost like attention to the whole person. Because like you said, it ain't just your athleticism that we talking about. It's your IQ, it's your understanding, it's your ability to see the play before it happens, right? It's
that's where the vision comes in. That's why you have some good players, but then on some plays, you're like, man, how'd you make that play but not that play? Yeah. You don't have the vision to understand, like, man, on the down block, you should have just went here. Or when that 3-tech was lined up right here, I should have just adjusted. But that's where sometimes you can get a more consistent and valuable player. We're slowing it down and making sure, seeing what he doesn't know.
Right. Like you said, just breaking that film down. I love it, Coach. I had a question for you, and I wanted to make sure I didn't forget it. Now, the work that people do with you, this is on top of the work that they're already doing with their programs, or kind of what does this? When do you catch your athletes, and like what does their training schedule look like when they're working with you?
So yes, I'm not a part of any organization or affiliation. So people who come to me are looking to come get extra work. So some players come after practice, some players come before practice, some people come in the off season, some people come all year round. It's really up to you. I'm available all year round. This is what I do full time. Okay. I do have some youth teams. They might be in season. They may book me to come out and on their Tuesday and Wednesday practice, like, hey, can you come by? Yeah. Then I have some high school teams in the off season. They may say, hey, can you come? Can we get 3 days in this summer? Or can we get 1 day a week for leading up to our spring practice or our fall ball? Like, I'm open to whatever a coach is open to or whatever a parent's open to. I'm here to service the big fellas. So whatever they want, I got it.
I guess, one question I have for you, Coach, just because I guess this is maybe my own philosophy, right, is especially at the younger levels, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of the work I'm doing has been at the younger levels. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, right, as parents, we just, we sign our kids up for a sport, and they just go to practice. But literally when you go to practice, like I gotta run the whole show, I gotta run the whole team. You don't get that individual type of attention. And so one thing that I've been trying to kick up a little bit is just like, if you want this and if you have one of those kids that really wants this and really has that skill, or you see some things already, this is on top of, what they may just be doing there. Because again, when you go to your team, you kind of with the team, you don't get the individual. So I just wanted to just kind of run that past you. Like, man, what's your thoughts on that?
No, so at that young age, they don't know much. They don't know how to be coached. They don't know how to run a practice. And in that time that they're at practice, the coach has to teach them plays. The coach has to get them to know how to be a part of a team. The coach has to teach them how to kind of start being tough and how to win, how to take wins and how to take losses. There's not enough time for a youth offensive line or defensive line coach to give them everything that you're expecting. So you got to go and get both if this is something that you feel like you want to go attack head on. If you're looking to just ride the journey, there's nothing wrong with going to practices, but know and understand it's going to come to a point and you're going to realize that, whoa, this kid knows way more. How did he how does he move in this fast? How does he know how to do this? How does he know how to use his hands? It takes years to know how to be violent with your hands and shed off somebody who's trying to come in, trying to put you on your butt. It takes time. Like, you come with me with 3 sessions, you might not know how to do that yet. You might start trying it a little bit, but just because you start trying, you don't know.
Yeah.
So the extra development gives them a chance to feel comfortable and go slow and mess up and be talked to. When in practice, you got 2 hours and we have so many things to get done. You're trying to make sure when the season comes, they know how to run our plays.
Right.
It's you got to try to find a balance so you can help yourself out and your coach out and your team out by going to go get some extra time. It's just like a tutor. I'm an offensive line and defensive line tutor. So you feel like when you go to school, if you don't have straight A's, all right, my kid, he's not grasping it that fast. Some kids do. Whatever you tell them to go do, he might be 9, he'll go run through somebody. Most won't. So you need to go get them a tutor.
Right. You got all this stuff takes time. And I love that, coach, because just again, because I think we have a lot of players who probably sit there and they're on teams, but I could be better and I feel it, but I don't know how to get it out. And I think, a program like yours, like you said, is almost in a sense, like you said, I'm a tutor, at this, and so literally
how to move, how to know you don't want to do that because you want to do this. But at practice, it's more like, man, it's 13 of us. We got 2 hours. We got to condition. There's so many things to get done. So it's just like that extra time. It gives your kid a chance to understand the how and the why. Because at practice, they're just being told what to do. And sometimes you get a little bit of how and why, but it's not a lot of time all the time. So I'm more, the extra training is really the how and the why. So if you see your kid just running up and not really using his hands, he's hearing the coach, he's just not comfortable. He needs to be shown more. He needs to be walked through more. He might need to get his hands on him and take baby steps so he can feel how to push with pressure. A lot of kids don't know how to push with, fight against pressure. Right. They don't know how to use just their arms or just their legs. So when you tell them to go full speed and go and drive him and push him, that's why most O-linemen and D-linemen, they push with their arms. Right. They haven't had the time to walk through and take baby steps and I got to connect both. That literally takes time.
Yeah, but like you said, that could be a big game changer from just using your arms to now throwing your legs in there too.
So it's sometimes we're doing that the whole practice. A youth coach can't afford to do that the whole practice as many times as I can. But the youth coach will appreciate it when he now says, all right, we need to go through here. Let's make a tackle through here. And it applies. Boom. That's all you need.
Yeah. And like you said, as coaches, a program like yours helps these coaches, in a sense, look good because, like you said, that kid is already coming prepared in the individual sense. That was always one of my things, right? I used to run track. I'm like, man, track is dope because I'm like, it's just me, you know. But like you said, in a team sport, you got to be prepared as an individual, and a lot of that happens away from. So you got to come to the team already prepared. And then now once we throw you in the schemes, now you can shine because you've already put that work and coaches put you in position. But a lot of times I think you like you said, you fall short and I'm just showing up and I know where to be, but did I make the play?
Did I make the play? Did I do it right? Did I make that play because the player in front of me was also untrained or was I actually good? I feel like a lot of kids and youth parents, when they see their kid doing good, they're not asking them that question. Was the kid in front of my kid good? Did the kid mess up and my kid made a good play? Or is this kid good and my kid is making that play?
Yeah,
so that's one big thing because you have a lot of parents come to me. I don't ask if anybody's good. I don't ask if anybody's bad. My job is to get everybody good. Yeah. So I have a lot of parents come to me hey, my kid's good. They do this and do that. And when we come to practice, they're not talking anymore because then they're like, whoa, he didn't know.
Yeah.
He didn't even know how to push somebody with his hands and feet.
Yeah.
So it's he had been making plays. They're youth kids. A lot of them don't go get extra training. So they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. They're just dominant on the field. And like you said, that could be obviously because your kid has some skill, but it could be because literally the kid in front of him was just didn't have it.
Or sometimes athletic ability is big in youth.
Yeah.
Because a lot of you kids, they don't even know how to move with their arms and feet in the
Yeah.
opposite ways. So imagine if a kid already just knows how to do this on some plays, he's naturally going to just beat him.
Yeah.
Not because he's a better D lineman than he's way more athletic.
Yeah. But like you said, and we have to realize that like you could be a star at the youth levels, but at some point it tapers off completely.
When you start getting to those 12, 13, 14s, where some kids may have now start going to training. Yep. Maybe their athletic ability over 4 or 5 years of playing football, they got a little tougher. They now know how to move. Yeah. Now that's when you start to see like, whoa. And I would hate to be in 8th grade and then be like, whoa, I think I need training now. Now it's like, man, you got to get ready for high school. Yeah. You should have already been knowing how to use your hands, knowing how to be coached, and just knowing and understanding the game of football.
Yeah. And like you said, you got to want that. And I think, like you said, especially for those kids that take off right away. Mm-hmm. And it's hard when you're in the front of the pack to realize what they're doing in the back. But like you said, it's a lot of different factors that these other kids behind you are still working. It's growth spurts. It's all kinds of things that can happen. And so you have to continue to take your game to the next level. And I think that's important for parents and players to understand that, like, you're not just going to be this good forever. You got to keep working on this because there's people all over the place, that are working.
Every few years, there's a jump in either athletic ability and with technique. So what you're doing at 8 and 9, at 13, 14, won't be doing.
So the guys you got are really just hungry, like, you know what I'm saying? Like your success stories, right? I know obviously you see success all over the place, but your success guys, these guys that getting 20 offers, like these are guys that are just literally just hungry, maybe been working with you for some time. Like what are just touch on those?
There's different things. Now, some kids have come to me with great ambition, and they knew that they wanted that if they wanted to play college football, they just needed more technique. They knew that they could make some plays, but they already kind of looking past it. And they're like, man, I know I can make so many more plays. Yeah. If I just knew what was going on. It's like they felt like they were just doing these things on accident. So I feel like with coming, they're hungry, or maybe sometimes it's their parents, because you also have to remember with kids like to do what's easiest, not what's best.
Right.
So sometimes the parent trusting in me and hearing what I'm teaching them and hearing what I'm giving them, they're like, man, nah, you need to stay here. Yeah. You're going to appreciate it your senior year.
Yeah.
Then when then things like that start to come in. It's not always the player. It's not always the parent.
Yeah.
It's really both. And
yeah. Like you said, you got to want this. At the end of the day, I know
somebody that part of the camp got to want it.
Yeah, for real. Somebody's really got to want it. And it can't be the coach. It's what I tell people is like, it's got to come from you, or again, eventually it's got to come from the player. But again, parents
eventually it does have to come to a player, because I have run into times where people are coming to train. And then if I see a kid is just not like latching on, I even said like, hey, what's wrong? Do you want to be out here?
Yeah.
Because I don't have to coach. I'm here. Like, I like to coach people who want to get better. Exactly. Even if they're not good, if they want to be better,
that's all I need.
And I'm not in the position to be coaching a bunch of kids that don't want to be there. Or I probably would have just coached youth football.
Right.
And that's what I try to tell people. I ask people to come try me out. I don't ask people to keep coming back.
Yeah.
Because if I keep asking you to come back, that's kind of like, I not that I don't want you here, but it's like, hey, I want you here. And I don't want anybody there that doesn't want to be
there. Yeah, I think, that's the separation.
It's too many details. It's too many things for me to yell out and get upset about. So I want to make sure we're on the same page. Like, because if I'm yelling at you, like, hey, why did we get this? This is the same thing that came from here. If you didn't want to be here, we're not going to jail, because I'm going to assume you came for me to get the most out of you.
Yeah.
So that's not what you're on. My sessions are not going to be good for you at all.
Yeah, I agree.
I try to say that every time we just finish our agility warm up and things like that. I'm like, hey, if your parents have made you be here and you kind of don't want to be here, let me know now, because this is going to be hard. It's going to be, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. If you kind of have an attitude, like,
it's just a separate, like you said, as a coach, like, I don't want to really deal with it. Like, I'm here assuming that you were here because you want to get better, and I got what you need to get there. And so the energy, you know, that you bring.
Yeah,
You
just the
know,
energy. And I'm not there to just yell, but there's just a type of energy when a kid is doing bad, but trying to figure it out. That's different than a
not
kid doing
trying.
bad and don't want to be there.
Yeah.
Like I'm all willing. I expect everybody who comes to train with me to know absolutely nothing. I assume the worst and I go for the best.
Gotcha.
And you know, some kids shock me in different ways. Oh, I didn't know he knew that much. Like
Yeah.
I always assume the worst. So I don't get mad at kids for not doing it this fast. I have had kids that don't know how to get in 3-point stances, don't know how to do high knees, don't know how to stretch. Like, everybody's not. I'm not one of the trainers. Like, I've had 89 guys go Division I. Like, no, I have some kids that are very bad.
Yeah,
they come to me,
but it's about progress. Yeah, their progress.
It's like that's what makes me want to be like, oh, okay, this is dope. You getting cold now.
That's what's up.
Then the guys in the group be like, nah, bro, you getting cold. Like, and then that's when you start seeing a player go a whole different way. Like,
right.
Because the guys in the group like, nah, bro, you used to be whack at that. And we all shoot on each other. We are all, when we come to my sessions, we are family. We're going to talk about each other. We're going to laugh and we're going to pick everybody up.
Right. But everybody there got a little chip on their shoulder, though.
Yeah, like, man, how they going that fast? And then there comes to a point, the people at the top of the line are like, nah, bro, I remember you used to couldn't hang with us. Like, you hanging there. When that happens, man, the kid just be right now.
That's all you need to hear as a young player.
It takes time. I always try to relate it to dancing. Like, bro, if y'all look at them doing them dance moves, y'all can't do them, right? It takes time.
Right.
It takes time.
It does. It does, Coach. This is great, man. This is great. Just chopping it up with you, man. I definitely want to catch it before, you know, we get cut off here. But you in town next week on Friday.
I think we got
not next week, June 3rd.
So June 3rd, that Friday, I'm having a coach's clinic. And I'm gonna get it right now. I'm having a coach's clinic Friday, June 3rd. I'm sorry.
Yep. Probably what I'll do is I'm gonna make sure that I can just pull the flyer up.
Okay.
You know, and just make sure that we post that on here. So again, just wanted to for everybody listening, a chance to just really just listen in to what this is. I know you see the flyer, you see the video, but it's great to just hear it from the man himself. Y'all hearing it from somebody who has experience. He just walked us through his experience and why he does what he does. And again, I hope this kind of paints a clear picture for you guys about what we're going to be doing in a few weeks to just kind of work with the offensive and defensive linemen here in the city. So any parting words for us, Coach, before we wrap up?
Man, stay at it. It takes time. See if this is something you want to do. Don't be afraid of extra. Don't ever think you know so much that you don't need a tutor.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And shoot, I hope I can meet as many people as I can when I come to town.
If you're a lineman, if you consider yourself one of the best linemen, offense or defense in the city, no matter what age starting at 8?
At 8, yep.
At 8, starting at 8. Mm-hmm. 8 or older, right? You need to come on out, show us what you got. In a couple of weeks, we're gonna be there, and we got somebody certified to come take a look and evaluate everything. So appreciate your time, Coach. Definitely gonna get this all out, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Come on, let's do it. Off-season podcast with the winner.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Coach. Have a good one.
All right, you too.